You know, many people arrive in November believing that the year will still sort itself out on its own, as if the following months were going to solve what has been pending since January. But they continue living on autopilot, repeating the same pattern that is already pushing so many people towards a tight 2026 full of difficulties. And perhaps you are also doing this without realizing it. It's common to see people working more and more, paying bills, breathing relieved when there's a little left at the end of the month, but without really seeing where the money is going. It seems normal, but it's exactly this normal that traps so many in the same cycle. Financial life doesn't worsen suddenly. It wears down slowly, almost silently, while small decisions accumulate. An impulse purchase here, a delay there, an expense that seems small but repeats every week. When we add it all up, we realize that it's not the future that is distant. It's the present that is already building 2026, brick by brick, habit by habit. That's why November is so important. It functions as a mirror. It shows whether you are just letting time pass or if you are really conducting your own financial life. If you don't change now, it's not that 2026 will surprise you negatively. It will simply reflect what you decided to ignore today. And this happens to many people. They don't review the budget, don't observe the small leaks, think that next year will be better just because the calendar turned. But nothing changes if you keep walking the same path. I want you to understand this clearly. Whoever repeats November repeats the entire year, and whoever repeats the year repeats life. But you are still in the right time. There's still time to adjust the course, reorganize priorities, trim excesses, take a deep breath, and choose a smarter path. I'm not saying this to scare you, but to wake you up. Because if you decide to change now, November can become the turning point month. But if nothing is different, 2026 can transform into just another year running behind, always with the feeling of falling behind. Many people don't realize it, but one of the biggest financial mistakes starts in a simple way: listening to advice from people who never built anything real. And this happens all the time. Someone lives full of difficulties, has no reserves, doesn't invest, never got out of hardship, but still feels prepared to say what you should do with your money. And the most curious thing is that most people follow this advice without questioning. It's as if people repeated what they heard when they were children, without stopping to think if that really makes sense today. This behavior creates a cycle that passes from generation to generation. Parents who never manage to organize their own finances end up teaching their children the same mentality that kept them trapped. Friends who work many years in the same place, always earning the same, give opinions about investments they never made. Colleagues who live in debt give opinions about expenses they themselves can't control. And so the poverty mentality spreads silently, like a habit that no one notices they are carrying. Maybe you've been through this too. Someone tried to discourage you, saying that investing is risky, that entrepreneurship is crazy, that saving money doesn't help, or that everyone lives in debt. Only these phrases don't reflect reality. They only reflect the limited experience of these people. When you follow advice from those who have no results, you end up living the financial life they have, not the one you want to build. And this is where the problem lies. If you want different results, you need to listen to people who have already walked to where you want to go, people who have real experience, who built wealth, who learned from their own mistakes, not from empty theories. That's why so many people remain stuck in the same place. It's not lack of effort, it's lack of direction. It's not lack of work, it's lack of guidance. And when you exchange bad advice for true guidance, everything starts to change. Because whoever speaks from what they lived teaches you the path. Whoever speaks without results teaches you the labyrinth. And before continuing, let me ask you something that makes all the difference so that this content reaches more people. If this video is helping you in any way, take advantage now to like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss any of the next chapters of this financial journey. And write here in the comments a simple but powerful phrase: I will succeed in November. This helps you reinforce the commitment to your own change. Many people make a mistake that seems small, but affects their entire financial life, depending exclusively on a single source of income, usually the salary. And while everything is working, the person thinks everything is fine. But just one unexpected event, a change in the company, an unexpected crisis, and the entire life collapses at once. When you support all your security on just one pillar, any tremor becomes a disaster. And this happens to more people than you imagine. People who have worked for years in the same place believe that nothing will change. They live blindly, trusting in stability, without realizing that real stability only exists for those who have alternatives. And what happens when a single income source fails? The person loses balance, goes into despair, starts using credit cards, loans, postpones bills, and each wrong decision becomes a snowball that grows too fast. But there's an important point here. The problem isn't the salary. The problem is depending only on it. Because as long as you only have one source of income, you live like someone walking on a narrow bridge, without protection on the sides. Any wind unbalances you. And look, it doesn't need to be something big to start changing this. It can be extra work, a skill you transform into a service, a small side project, a passive income that starts small but grows over time. The important thing is to get out of total dependency, because depending on a single source is handing over your financial life into the hands of someone who is not you. When you create other income streams, even small ones, something inside you changes. You start to breathe better, to walk with more confidence, to feel that for the first time you are not trapped in a single path. And that's where true financial freedom begins, when you stop being hostage to what can change without warning. There is a very common behavior that makes thousands of people believe they are living well, when in reality, they are just moving further and further away from financial freedom. It's when someone starts to live like rich, but without having wealth, without reserves, and without any solid foundation behind it. It's the famous lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most dangerous silent wealth thieves that exist. It happens like this. The person improves income a little, receives a promotion, earns some bonus, and immediately increases the standard of consumption, changes the cell phone, buys new clothes, decides to finance a better car, starts frequenting more expensive places, all to appear that life is better. Only this feeling isn't real, it's borrowed. Many people confuse income with wealth. Income is what comes in, wealth is what stays. And whoever spends everything they earn doesn't build anything. They just sustain an image that doesn't reflect their true financial situation. And the most curious thing is that this doesn't happen on purpose. Most people fall into this mistake because they want to feel rewarded for their own effort. They want to show themselves that they are evolving. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to live well. The problem is living too well too soon before having a strong foundation. When you increase your lifestyle without increasing your wealth, you trade freedom for appearance. You trade future for immediatism. You trade security for quick moments of satisfaction. And this directly affects 2026 because the person who always lives at the limit becomes extremely vulnerable. Just a loss of income or an emergency to destabilize everything. It's like building a beautiful house on the outside, but with a fragile foundation. On the other hand, whoever controls lifestyle in the present builds wealth that works for them in the future. Doesn't live on appearance, lives on purpose. And that's the difference between those who will arrive in 2026 prepared and those who will arrive depending on luck. Another mistake that keeps many people at the same point, year after year, is maintaining bad debts. And when I talk about bad debts, I'm talking about those that only take money from your pocket, without bringing any real benefit to your life. They are debts that feed on your future and leave you always one step behind. These debts start innocently. An installment purchase here, a credit card used as an extension of income, a car financing without necessity, an electronic that seemed urgent, clothes you didn't need as much as you imagined. People do this without realizing that, over the months, these small commitments become an enormous weight. Bad debts drain your energy, they limit your choices, they prevent you from investing, from saving money, from building wealth. They make you work only to pay for the past, not to transform the future. And this creates a constant feeling that you are running, but not getting anywhere. Many people think having debts is normal, but normal doesn't mean healthy. Normal just means common. And precisely because it's common, millions of people remain trapped in the same financial cycle for years. When you pay off a bad debt, you're not just cleaning your name. You're opening space to breathe, to grow, to make better choices. You're taking weight off your shoulders, and most importantly, you're recovering power over your own money. Because each installment of a bad debt is a piece of your future being handed over to something that doesn't even have importance anymore. And when you realize this, something changes inside you. You start to understand that financial freedom doesn't start by earning more. It starts by eliminating what traps you. If you want to arrive in 2026 with more peace, more clarity, and more opportunities, the first step is to stop sustaining what only pulls you down. Bad debts are not just numbers. They are invisible barriers between you and the life you want to build. There is a silent mistake that many people make without realizing, working too much and still not evolving financially. This happens because many people believe that physical effort or hours of work are enough to change their life. But they're not. You can work all day, every day, and still remain in the same place if you don't invest in yourself. Investing in yourself is not about spending money, but about increasing your value. It's acquiring new skills, developing knowledge, improving your ability to solve problems, learning something that makes you more valuable to the market. Because, in the end, the market pays for your skill level, not your tiredness level. Many people dedicate years of their life to a job that doesn't value their growth. They repeat the same tasks, use the same skills, follow the same paths, and then wonder why the salary doesn't increase, why opportunities don't appear, why everything seems so limited. But the truth is simple. If you don't evolve, your income doesn't evolve either. The world changes fast, and whoever doesn't keep up with these changes falls behind. But investing in yourself puts you ahead, makes you more prepared, more secure, more capable, opens doors that didn't even exist before, and most importantly, it gives you autonomy. Autonomy to choose better jobs, better projects, better paths. And you don't need to start with something grand. It can be an online course, a book that deepens your knowledge, a new skill you practice gradually. What matters is to move. Each small step adds up. Each new learning expands your vision. Each developed skill puts you at a level that no longer depends on luck or the opinion of others. When you invest in yourself, you stop being just another worker and transform into someone indispensable. And that's what changes everything. That's what takes you away from hardship and brings you closer to true freedom. Because in the end, your greatest asset will always be you. And the more you grow, the more your financial life grows with it. You know that moment when you feel like stopping? When nothing seems to work, plans get stuck, and you start asking yourself if you were really born to achieve something greater? Well, it's precisely there that most people give up. And it's exactly at that point that you need to continue. Persistence is silent. It doesn't need to make noise, doesn't demand applause, doesn't ask for immediate recognition. It acts behind the scenes while you keep trying, even tired, even without seeing results. And it's in this phase that your real strength starts to grow. The truth is simple. People only see the final result, but your progress happens in hiding, in daily life, in what no one sees. Each small effort, each reading you do, each reel you save, each intelligent choice that replaces an old habit, all this accumulates like bricks of a solid and lasting construction. Think like this. You don't need to run fast. You just need to keep walking. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to not give up on yourself. One day, when everything starts to work out, they'll say you were lucky, but you'll know it wasn't luck. It was persistence. It was decision. It was silent courage. And that courage, it lives inside you, and it's ready to take you much further than you imagine. One of the most valuable skills you can develop, and that almost no one talks about, is learning to say no, not out of rudeness, not out of pride, but for protection. Protection of your time, your energy, and especially your future. Because the truth is that life is full of invitations that seem harmless, but that take you off the path. Let's go just today. Can you solve this for me real quick? You don't need to dedicate yourself so much, relax. And when you realize it, you're putting others' plans above your own. Your money disappears in small purchases. Your mind wears out with problems that aren't even yours. Your time evaporates in conversations, distractions, and empty promises. Saying no is liberating. When you say no to what delays you, you're automatically saying yes to what builds you. This is how you protect your goals. Say no to impulsive spending. Say no to comparison that weakens you. Say no to automatic routine that leaves you in the same place. And the more you practice this, the more you notice something powerful. The right opportunities start to appear when you stop accepting what pulls you down. Your no can be silent, but its result makes noise and transforms your entire life. Many people spend their lives trying to prove something to someone, prove they are capable, prove they deserve, prove they are on the right path. And maybe you felt this too, that silent need to hear an "I'm proud of you," or to see someone finally recognizing your effort. But here's the truth that few people have the courage to face. You don't need approval to grow. Approval doesn't pay your bills. Approval doesn't build your habits. Approval doesn't save you when you fall. Approval doesn't take you to the next level. What transforms your life is not what others think. It's what you do when no one is watching. Because while some people waste time trying to please the world, the people who advance are those who learn to continue even when no one understands, no one supports, and no one believes. And many times, when you start to rise, you know what happens? Precisely those who never encouraged you start asking, "How did you do it?" And you realize that the biggest mistake would have been waiting for them. You are building something bigger, something yours, something that doesn't need applause, spotlights, or permission. Continue. The world will understand later. And even if it doesn't understand, you're not living their life. Many people spend the entire year busy, running from one side to another, saying they don't have time. But in the end of it all, they realize that nothing really changed. They moved, but didn't progress. And maybe you've felt this firsthand, that feeling of doing so much and even so, looking at your financial life and realizing you're exactly in the same place. This happens because movement is not advancement. Movement only means you're tired. Progress means you're building, and this is where many people fall. They confuse effort with result, think that working more hours means earning more, think that being busy means being productive, think that doing everything at the same time means evolution. But true financial growth happens when you stop to think, plan, and act with direction. When you understand where you're going, you stop wasting energy on things that don't bring you closer to the future you want. Because when you have clarity, each step becomes a stair. Without clarity, each step becomes wear. And many people arrive in November exhausted, not because they advanced, but because they went in circles the entire year. But you don't need to repeat this pattern. You still have time to transform movement into real progress. Just adjust the focus. Just put intention in your steps. Just decide that 2026 will not be a repetition of 2025. Many people live as if nothing were happening. They notice that money is running out faster, but pretend that next month it gets better. They notice that prices increase, but continue buying as if nothing had changed. They notice they are falling behind, but avoid facing their own reality head on. And maybe you've been through this, that moment when you feel something is wrong, but try to push it to later because you don't want to deal with the worry. But the truth is simple and direct. Life always sends signals before a crisis arrives. When you start depending on the card to close the month, it's a signal. When the balance never matches your effort, it's a signal. When you work more but don't see progress, it's a signal. When fear of the future grows, but you try to ignore it, it's another signal. And these signals don't come to scare you, but to wake you up. They are silent alerts saying, if you don't change now, you'll pay dearly later. But many people only react when they're already at the limit, when the bank calls, when debt becomes a snowball, when tiredness transforms into despair. But you don't need to wait to reach that point. You can look at your financial life today, honestly, and decide you won't ignore anymore what you already know. You can transform these signals into direction, into focus, into action. Because whoever pays attention early suffers less later. And before closing, let me tell you one last thing. If you made it here, it's because you really care about your financial life and want to change, and that already puts you ahead of most people. Now, transformation depends on action. It depends on you looking at these signals, recognizing what needs to be adjusted, and deciding that November won't pass by blank. Deciding that 2026 won't catch you unprepared. Deciding that you deserve more, and that you'll build this more step by step. And if this content helped you, I want to ask you a simple favor: like this video, because this shows the platform that you want to see more content like this. And subscribe to the channel, because here we'll continue walking together, always with practical and direct advice to help you build a smarter financial life. And leave here in the comments a simple but powerful phrase: I will succeed in November. Write this, assume this, declare this, and let this phrase be the first step of the change you know has already taken too long to start.